All right, what's up, people? I want to get this recorded. I came back from walking the dog and noticed that we had tapped into this model 1 right here. So we've got this low put in this high. So you pull the GB from low to high. Here, I'll just do it again. Got this low to this high. All right, so we tapped into the 7475 and it's 0.79. We created this 1 minute CSS right here that we had a sweep here, come back up. So I got long above this candle, stop at the low. Wanted to see the CSS hold on the next few candles. If not, small stop loss, no problem. But we ended up getting some continuation up here. Now the concern for the long is we do have this imbalance. We've got a new CSS here on the 1 minute. And we are in kind of like a downtrend, sort of. Now the reason I was okay with going long down here is we had overshot what I have marked out as a range on ES, thinking that we should suck up to at least the midline, maybe higher. If we would have went all the way to the top, I have a TP way up here. But my thought process is we've got this zone here, low to high. We closed below it here, so we should have sucked up to at least halfway, which we did. We tapped and rejected. Now, what I want to see is I want to see the CSS hold. If the CSS holds down here, I will be thinking about an add above really the 60s. I would like to see an add. We'll see. But I'll pause the video, and if something happens or if I add, I'll restart it. I wanted to restart the video. We're back up to this CSS here that's kind of in alignment with this internal zone. I would like to see this internal zone high and this one as well kind of act as a draw. Even if we don't take this high and I got to trail out somewhere, in this area close to the second TP. So this will be 4.1, 0.29 second TP. Even if I got to trail it out up here, it's not a big deal. Like I said a minute ago, I've got this TP up here just front running initial balance high in case we get a huge spike and run these highs pretty quickly. I'm not going for new session highs or anything like that, but I do want to see if I can catch this range from the bottom over here on ES. We've kind of been tapping this area. And like I always talk about, most breakouts of trading ranges will fail. So I'm looking for, I like to see this low hold, and not even get back to the bottom of the range, but find some buyers to push it back up to the top on ES. And that would obviously take ES with it because they've been working together really nicely today, kind of going hand in hand. So first liquidity point, in my opinion, would be the CSS high. We'd invalidate this internal. Okay, just like that. Now we do have to look at point of control. So this is the developing point of control for today. Kind of a value area low to back to value area high play here. That's kind of what this trade idea was, in alignment with a GB Model 1 entry from a CSS sweep. So had quite a few confluences to get long down here. Looked like we had a good little spike there up to 4.1. But again, I've got to be mindful that we are, in this downtrend. So I don't want to get too greedy, you know, and look for new session highs or anything like that. We could just tap initial balance high and then nuke, right? So I'm keeping an eye on ES. Where are we at on ES? Keep an eye on where we are in relation to value area. Normally I don't use this, but I wanted to use it on this play just to make sure that I am in alignment with a range trade. Value area low, value area high. We could, like I said, tap initial balance high. We'll see. All right, I'll pause again. Something happens. Okay. We are getting as to be expected, a decent reaction off of point of control from today, the developing profile. So I think it's a good time and wise decision for me to move break even, and especially if we get back below this confirmed internal zone. So you're going to have a lot of these, you know, internal zones where we just take highs and lows and they don't really hold within a range. Being mindful of where the bigger draw could be in your mind is something that you can't lose sight of in the middle of a trade, right? Because we're going to have pullbacks inside of a range. You're going to have internal lows and internal highs getting swept, getting taken out maybe multiple times. So I wanted to make sure that I got in on an extreme level, which would be outside of value. Also, it would be at a 7.475 or a 7.9 tap, which we got both. And making sure that you have some type of sweep on your entry time frame. So let me go to 3 minute. You had 1, 2, 3 sweeps. This low, let me zoom in pretty good. So this was kind of the low that we put in. This candle never closed below that low. And then we had a bunch of wicks. So jump into the 1 minute. In tandem with all the other confluences that I had, that is why I went long on this specific CSS and buy stopped it instead of waiting for a tap back in. If that makes sense. Because we were in an area that we could just push out of, which we did. I wanted to make sure that I got an entry. And if we came back and tap and I was in drawdown for a little bit, that's fine. But understand we just tapped 4-1, right? Could come back, tap into this area. So I don't want to trail too tight yet. We could even sweep out this low right here. We could sweep this out. So I don't want to trail too tight to this internal zone. So really just the only option for me at this point, if I want to try to take this high first and see if it can, you know, wick up and take me out here. The only option I have is really to move break even or keep my stop here. But I don't want to keep my stop down here because I'm not willing to put my stop all the way at the lows. And if I'm not willing to put my stop all the way at the lows, then me having it right here as we're continuing with the overall downtrend is probably not a good idea, because even if we're going to bounce, even if we're going to do something like this and bounce from here, it will likely sweep this area out, put a wick, and then go. So I don't want to, like I said, only option is to either go break even or take it off now. It's not really to leave my stop down here, especially once we close this high. We close these highs. We close this high here. Validating this zone. Would like to see continuation movement off of this down here, possibly tap into this, and then continue up. Now, once we close this high, let's see, arrow. If we were to come back up and close on the 1 minute above this high, then I will move my stop to this zone here, especially if we come and tap 50% of it or deeper. Even better would be a 70% tap to move higher. So let's draw that out. So if we got a 70% tap here and then took this high out with a close, that would be even better for me and allow me to secure a little bit more profit by moving my stop to this low. All right, I'll pause it. And before I pause it, notice we did tap 50% of ES's range. We're coming back in to a valid zone. It is all internal, but it's all going to be internal when you are dealing in a range. Well, we'll see. We're about to tap 70%, possibly. And one thing to note too is if we do come down here and take me out break even and then just sweep the CSS, find some more buyers, I don't mind taking the second move up, because a lot of times the second move up from an area like this would deliver this. Yeah, that's if the first move doesn't deliver. Typically the second move, if we come down here and hold, should deliver that high. But always reminding yourself of where you're at. So I'm fighting this trend with this trade. See, we got lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Pretty clean tap of this 3-bar CSS there. All right, so there's 70% of this zone. On the hourly as well, we've got this doji type candle. So I'd like to see these this liquidity that's kind of resting on all these. The trend line liquidity is a trend. So you're fighting the trend when you're trying to take out the liquidity of these hourly highs and the 15-minute highs at that. So if the trade doesn't work and I get stopped out, break even, it's simply because I'm fading or fighting this trend. But I'm fighting it in an area that could lead to this thing pushing up an extreme outside of value, as I've said multiple times so far. Trending markets, you can run your stop a little bit tight and not be as cute with it, kind of like if we go back to yesterday. Keep forgetting I'm on the 1 minute. It's way back here. So, you look at yesterday, you're on the right side of the trend all day. There's really no reason to go long. You're just dumping, chopping, dumping, chopping, dumping, chopping, dump. So this is a point in which you can really trail these highs and keep your stop out of danger and go for way bigger moves. Whereas inside this range here, it's just sloppy. So if you're going to go for a big move like this, make sure your stop is at an extreme level, either the high or the low, preferably the high, but didn't have that option. We weren't up here. I took a short earlier from this level, posted it in Discord. I got short around here and took it off at, I believe it was 31. It was at this node here, right before this low got. I always like to front run levels. As you can see, my TP for the last trade was in this area, 31. It was prior to this low getting broke. And the reason I like to do that, I like to make sure that I'm going to get out of my trade and not have to bring my stop trailing too tight and get taken out if I'm going for a bigger move. And as you can see, once we got to this low, we start chop and then we revert back. We didn't take out the highs, we revert back. Took out these lows, but now we're starting to revert back. And because I'm looking for a play to go back to the opposite side of value, you would expect this to either get a small sweep or 70% hold to continue higher, because we need to get back to the top of the range on ES and NQ. We don't need to, but range trading rules and ideas tell me that we need to get back to the top. You'll see this a lot of times too. Just keep this in your pocket. After big expansive moves, what does the market tend to do? It tends to range, tends to chop. All right, I'll pause it again. If something happens, I'll restart it. Okay, we want to restart because if we can get above point of control here, I've got a good sense that everybody's shorting pretty heavily in this area to try to take it to a new low for the session. Will probably just give us fuel to take out the highs. Again, I'm not going for a session high or anything like that. I'm just going to front run somewhere in here. At a minimum, I believe this high is imminent draw. and then shortly after we should see this high taken. At that point, I'll probably trail up pretty tight. So if we would have swept this low and then reclaimed pretty quickly, I probably would have added in the 60s here. But since we didn't and we just tapped 70, I just want to leave it like it is with one contract. Missed it by a tick. We're still not even close to the top of the range on ES, so just move this here. All right, so we took this high, took this high. Now let's see this this liquidity pool up here. Just give me a nice spike, quick wick or something. I'd like to see that happen pretty soon. Take this, move this here. Got a little baby wick on it right here, so that's fine. So that right there is a, let me get this fractal. I got a fractal tap on the 1 minute. So when you see these quick moves, a lot of times any candle that doesn't at least wick this high or close above it will come back, tap the fractal that it left behind for a continuation move. If I was trying to be greedy, I would go up here for this open CSS, this 1 minute CSS. Let me mark that as a CSS. If I was trying to be greedy, I would go up here. That's not out of the question for sure, especially with ES not making it back to the top of the range yet. I know y'all hear me say the same thing over and over, but that's how you learn, right? You hear the same thing over and over. You see the same thing over and over. You train your eyes to see, and you train your emotions to react properly and in accordance with what you're seeing on the chart. I don't want to get in the way here, even though we are at this high, and this could be range high, and we come all the way back down here. I don't want to get in the way of a quick one of these. I don't want to get in the way of that. Now, if I didn't believe in this trade, if this was an emotional just, hey, let me press buy because I see some momentum going, and then you're more likely to start dragging your stop up. So I marked this as fail to close. It's not fail to close yet. I would like to see it suck up. Okay, didn't get it, so I'll delete that. So now we have this. CSS. Fractal didn't hold, so when a fractal doesn't hold, looking for a bigger pullback. Okay, that's got a wick. Look at 3 minute. 3 minute has a wick. Again, if you were strictly trading just a model 1 long from 7475, you would look at possible break even at 6.1. I don't do that. I'm going to break even at 4.1. You could use that as a first TP. You could use this as a second TP. And you could look for a final TP somewhere in the origin. So that's kind of what I'm doing, is I'm looking for a TP somewhere in the origin of this down move. Now, where it started, the origination of this down move. Now, to me, this high is weak. The reason it's weak is that high came down, tried once, tried twice to take out this low. So we have this first down move, second down move, failed to take the low. So we should be pushing to at least attempt a liquidation of this high. And we are still inside of a higher time frame level. So we got a higher time frame GB 7475, good liquidity near it. So that should be the terminal draw of this push up. Before we get into some other type of market cycle. But again, I'm not looking for these highs. I just want to secure a front run of initial balance high, take my money and move on. So you know you're on the right side. I keep marking these CSSs out because you know you're on the right side when we create them and then liquidate them. Create them and liquidate them. The same thing we did here. Right, this was a valid 1 minute CSS with a close down here, and then we liquidated it. I don't know if you can hear, but my daughter's home from school today. She's sick, so I'll be taking her to the doctor here pretty soon. If this takes too long, I may just have to close it. So we're here at 500, 24,500, big round number. We created a imbalance on the 1 minute. Tap back in. Let's see if we can take out all this. I'd like to see one of these candles here once we get there, and just go ahead and fill me and not have to babysit this. We are at the top of value, right? So hence the slowdown. Trying to see if we have any more buyers to continue this thing up, or if they're going to take profit and send it back down, along with new shorts jumping in the market at value high.
Daddy.
What, baby?
Hear this. Watch, he's gonna say something.
Alrighty, I'm back. So with this big move here, you're expecting to go up a couple time frames. Maybe the 3 minute had a imbalance right here. There's a 3 minute imbalance. I'm sure there's a 5 minute as well. Yep, 5 minute imbalance. I'll use the 5 minute imbalance here just because we haven't tapped into it yet, just to give me awareness. All right, I'm gonna pause again. All right, I wanted to restart because we missed invalidating this imbalance by like a tick or two. So what I'm seeing is we've got this high, this low. This high closed above here, creating this zone. So now my stop is basically at 50% of this zone. So what I want to do is either close the trade very shortly or move it back to break even. The issue with moving it back to break even is, again, what are we fighting? Or what am I fighting with this? I'm fighting the downtrend. But I do want to give it room because I think it wants to go higher. I'm not saying take out all these highs up here. But I do think it wants to get up here and at least take out this high. And we got very close. But in order to go up in a range, you got to go back down. So we could take out, like I was saying earlier, we could take these lows out and then build something to get back up there. You could just completely miss this, never get to 50%, which I think that would be highly unlikely for us to not tap at least 50% of this before going higher. Especially we have this. Well, it's not inverted yet on the 5 minute. We'll see. I wanted to start it, or restart the video and kind of let you know what I was thinking, what I was seeing. Technically, this move here with this internal low technically is kind of a strong low, right? but we could just wick it, especially with these lows resting next to it and us already using this zone as a bounce point. But this is the supply and demand that's responsible for creating this zone here, this white zone. Got equal lows, so we need something. We need something to sweep into this area. Grab that zone tool. See if we tap 70% again. See this zone resting pretty close to that. So we get closure back up here. So this is now an imbalance, not imbalance. It's IFVG. On the 5 minute. So this would be a lower high than this high. Just trying to give it one more chance to hold this area. If I was not in a long trade, this would have been a really good area to try a short from. Being at the extreme, very similar to this long entry was this short entry here. if you pull, I'm pretty sure it's going to probably be Model 1. Yeah, close to it. So we'll probably come back down a little bit more here. What would kind of keep me in this trade would be a move back above this high with a closure. Yep, looking like it wants to come back down here. Take me out break even. Equal lows. Got a little imbalance here on the 1 minute. this zone. See if we sweep. We sweep this low here, that would be a sweep of the SNDR. Price is looking rather heavy though. So we would really need to find some continuation buyers step up here, which is probably not likely given we're in a range. But I would be pleasantly surprised if we do. Get this off. So this was taken out. So it's still no different than what I was talking about earlier. You know, if we create a CSS and we liquidate it, that's what I was talking about. This high here being with a close above it is kind of the last line in the sand for me not to just get immediately break even on this trade. This low right here is very likely to get swept. Are these equal? I think those are equal. So it might be these. But really, if we get down here, then I'm gonna get wicked out because we're gonna be coming back to the CSS at a minimum. But if this little swing can hold for a second time and we get a close up here, could be juicy. Could be juicy for a really quick pop up. Doubt it, but we'll see. Got 10 minutes to a new hour. Yep, so that's a pretty rough candle for me. Another set of equal lows so far. Still got half a minute for this candle to close. Need a strong push, close, liquidate this. We need this, close, possibly come back to this. Really need to rip through this BPR. This is an area we just need to run through. Don't want to see it spend too much time there. And I don't want to speak too soon, but getting a close back above this high is it's exactly what I wanted to see to give me some confidence that we're not going to just take me out, break even. So on this second attempt, the second push higher to go take out these highs, I don't want to see it fail and revert for a second time. So what I'll do is Kind of like when we made this CSS over here. We closed below this low. So this low closed below this. We came and tapped the CSS 50%. If we do this again over here, what I'll do is I'll trail the candle that taps the 50% of any CSS that we make in this region. Just to try to squeeze as much as I can out of it. Some big candles though. All right, so there's that high. That high got taken. A 1.5 point little wick. So unfortunately for me, for us to create a CSS, we would have to close below this, which I don't really want to see. I just want to see it push. Just continue. $20 seconds to the new hour. So with us being so close, either way, with a new hour opening up, we could get a wick down for it to continue up, or we could get a spike up for the new hour to just melt off. So either way, I think I'm in a pretty decent spot right here. Take a quick screenshot and take all this. Move this up here just in case something crazy happens and a big news item comes and get a massive wick. Trail it tight there. Trail it tight there. All right. Full TP. So just to recap, I hope you understand, if you watch the full video, which I think you should, there's a lot of value in it, in my mind. Making sure that you don't trail too tight if you're going for a bigger move. You're going to have these pullbacks. I mean, look at the market. We're in a range. You're going to get pullbacks back and forth. And the key is just to not get emotionally involved in your trade. Right? See the chart. Understand kind of what's happening. And the only way to somewhat remove the emotion from it is to know what you're looking at. Once you know what you're looking at and you have an edge, now it's a matter of having a plan, sticking to your plan. If you need to make adjustments in the middle of the trade, that's fine, but don't let P&L be the deciding factor. Now, if you're trading a prop firm where you need, $300 to pass an account or something, just close the trade at 300. No reason to go for more. So let's see what this does. See if we get this model one short entry. I'm not going to take it because I ran out of time to continue trading. Plus, got decent profit. Let's see. That would be 625. I'll put an alert on. with us pumping, I guarantee you gas is or crude is dumping. Oh yeah. All right. Y'all have a good day. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Let me know if you got some questions. Hope you understood the trade. Could be reverting back in to the range. Probably not. I would expect us to go up and tap this area here. And if we want to get back into the range after that, so be it. Could just take all the highs. Anyway, have a good one.